Football is indeed a game of mystery where it is concerned with players. Players are normally hot topics in the newspaper, and it can be for a good or a bad reason. When we hear about good reasons, we can think about Lionel Messi winning the World Cup for Argentina or Cristiano Ronaldo moving to Manchester United. But where it is concerned, on the bad side for players, you could think about past events like Paul Pogba being banned for substances, or even Karim Benzema and that incident that he had with that female. It is absolutely a delightful morning here, and today I want to drop a top news that has been flipping or surrounding the globe. It is all about Mason Greenwood prospective return to England national team and Manchester United. What impact will this have on his international and club career? So guess what? Today on the 19th of March, Premier 7 would like to share the details. So make we see what go on. It is always my pleasure in being here to present topics of concerns, topics that are controversial, topics that will, play around with the minds of football enthusiasts. I mentioned that today's topic will be based on Mason Greenwood and his prospective return to England's men's national team and Manchester United. This will have some impact where it is concerned with Jamaica men's national team. And don't you think I have a cap to represent that? Here it is. Jamaica, the land of beauty. Jamaica has been chasing this player. And to be honest, we were somewhat disappointed where it is concerned with Omari Hutchinson, because the game against the United States we wanted for him to be a part of, and hell no, he will not be. And to hear that Mason Greenwood potentially have a chance to reignite or revitalize his career for England and of course Manchester United, it is a hard pill to swallow. And this show is to discuss the breaking news that was dropped in the newspaper. But before I even give you the details on that, how about being wowed by a past goal from Mason Greenwood?
Now to Greenwood. Up against Dakemi. The shot comes in from Greenwood. What a goal that is! Mason Greenwood scores!
Can you imagine if Mason Greenwood is hitting the highest form in football? You would have no doubt that he would not score. And that pass goal for Itafe is absolutely amazing. So with no further ado, let me just get into the details as it surrounds his international career. He hasn't played much for England and only one cap he received for the national team at the highest level, and that seems to be an uncapped. Let me just share the details that was being showed in the papers where his coach, or England's current coach, Gareth Southgate, basically dropped a hint. And here is the details. I hope you guys are seeing my screen here. All right, so I don't think you guys are seeing the screen. So let me just read what was being published. All right, so just give me a second to see if I can bring it up on screen. Bear with me for a few. All right, so I will just go ahead and read the details from the paper. And this was written to say that Southgate admits Greenwood could play for England again, as likely Man United resolution emerges. This was written on the 17th of March 2024. Right, so you're now seeing the source. All right, there's a source. So if you look carefully on the highlighted area of the paper, it pointed out that according to Gareth Southgate, Manchester United loanee Mason Greenwood could play for England again, but he won't feature at the European Championship. The one-capped England international has not featured internationally since his debut in the UEFA Nations League against Iceland in September 2020. All right, stick a pin right there. Stick a pin right there. So, 2020 was the last time Mason Greenwood was featured for England. And to be brought about now as a hot topic based on his past traumas or what was being done, for Gareth Southgate to be giving pointers or hints that Mason Greenwood could basically play back for England, it is a huge surprise for many, but it wasn't really a big surprise for me because I was saying that Gareth Southgate may not be England coach within a few years to come, and he will not be the coach forever. And Mason Greenwood is apparently way younger than Gareth Southgate. I am going to touch up on how this will impact his international career. So I will be taking into consideration Jamaica men's national team and England, of course. But with that being said, I also want to speak about the fact that Manchester United possibly could welcome back Mason Greenwood to the club. And this is another point that persons would be saying, what the hell is happening? Because from England being considered for a return, and also Manchester United thereafter, sad news for maybe a Getafe or a Barcelona, because those clubs were in the makings because they wanted to at least have the signature of Mason Greenwood. And I hope you're seeing the screen. So Mason Greenwood offered Man United lifeline as teammates call for return. What do you think about this? So Manchester United squad would reportedly back Mason Greenwood reintegration at Old Trafford, with Red Devils chief set to make decision on the future of the forward. Greenwood's United career appeared to be over when he was sent on loan to Getafe at the start of the season. So the club's hierarchy took the decision to allow the 22-year-old to kickstart his career abroad after the Crown Prosecution Service dropped criminal charges following the withdrawal of key witness. Greenwood had also denied charges. So, we all know that the Mason Greenwood saga was flying last year. And to be honest, to be seen that the charges were dropped, some persons would agree that he deserved another chance. But where it was concerned with the players, even the fans at Manchester United, it was a hard pill to swallow to accept Mason Greenwood back in the squad. But the charges were dropped and he's even with his partner, nevertheless. So, I think possibly he will be welcomed back to Manchester United. And bless up to Mr. Drew Rose, aka Drew Fortis. Up, up, up. Big up yourself, brother. Thank you for joining the show. So, with that being said, I want to go into details as it is concerned with how Mason Greenwood could have an impact in regards to his international return to England and how it could affect the Jamaica men's national team. Thereafter, I want to speak about the Manchester United portion and his return. Right? So I have things to represent the topics. But before I jump into that, I want to hear what Mr. Drew Fortis is saying. So he said that the English FA realize they are losing out. And the thing is, Mason Greenwood is one of the best youngsters still existing on the planet, still playing football at the age of 22. He is above average players. For me personally, Mason Greenwood is an excellent talent that can become world class. And you can let me know what you think as well. But, you know, things do happen and some things are supposed to receive a second chance, while some things do not deserve a second chance. And you can at least use some examples in your mind to conclude with what I'm saying here. So, I want to speak now directly on the 2 pointers shared. How Mason Greenwood impact Jamaica if he plays for England, and how will he impact Manchester United and other teams if he should return to Old Trafford. But let's hear a small artistic piece that was being done. Yo, we move on from the sadness. Past life full of scar, accused slackness. What a madness. Newspaper would have lose prestige if my name escape from it. Did you hear that piece? And if you don't, listen again, because this is directed at Mason Greenwood. Let's go again. Yo, we move on from the sadness. Past life full of scar, accused slackness. What a madness. Newspaper would have lose prestige if my name escape from it. That is based on what happened in the past in regards to Mason Greenwood. He has to move on from the past sadness because he was accused for rape or assault, right? And it would be madness, basically, well, it is actually madness based on a football player's career. I'm not defending anyone here. But then again, the key point in the end says that newspaper would have lost its prestige if his name wasn't in it. And that was actually created by the person who wrote that lyrics. And it was me, of course. So now I want to speak about the nitty-gritty part of the video. Mason Greenwood prospective return. International impact. We all know now that Mason Greenwood is favored by the Jamaica men's national team. And I spoke about Mason Greenwood on several occasions on this amazing platform. Having a Mason Greenwood playing for Jamaica would only be something exceptional, beautiful on the ice. And even if you're watching the game or even listening Jamaica playing on the radio and you hear Mason Greenwood, without a doubt, without any apology, you would be way excited to hear and see him because of his instant impact that he can have on the Jamaica men's national team. I think having Mason Greenwood in the Jamaica men's national team will do a lot for the Jamaica economy. In terms of popularity or gaining financial boost, maybe somebody would want to come on board our company to sponsor Jamaica because Mason Greenwood is playing, right? Giving Jamaica that oomph to be recognized more so on the global stage because Mason Greenwood would actually improve Jamaica financially because his name will be up there in selling shirts. And then again, with that added to who we already have in the squad, like a Leon Bailey, a Bobby Reed, a Ethan Pinnock, right? Andre Blake, and just imagine his impact bring across a Gibbs White, a Henry, a Ramsey, a Hutchinson. Trust me, Jamaica will be famous because we are already famous where it is concerned with track and field to the world, Usain Bolt. But football would have been recognized more. And there will be a better program that will be needed though in the country. But I spoke about sponsorship. Mason Greenwood would bring about that for Jamaica, right? What about the negative side though? Negativity would not be much of an impact. What do you think? But I will share. The negative side is that some players would not be given an opportunity to play because Mason Greenwood is playing and he can play as a striker, as a right winger, as a left winger. So, some local talents would not be given that ideal chance. And also, from his personal perspective, maybe Coach Al Grimson may not be able to manage his ego. And some persons would be saying that Mason Greenwood, why Jamaica is using Mason Greenwood because of his past acquisitions or his past negative things that he was a part of. But don't hide away from the truth. He is absolutely an amazing talent. For England, if he's given that chance, then possibly Jamaica, well, not Jamaica, possibly England can have a better chance in securing major titles. Remember in the article, he is not featured as a part of the Euros, but after that, he have that chance. And I would love to see him play football. I won't say for England because I'm a Jamaican fan, right? But the England team would be on a higher level because of his key abilities. But then again, England have striking forces who can play well from the right, like a Phil Foden, who is in a blistering form right now for Manchester City. He's one of my favorite players, trust me. But Mason Greenwood would have had fire or more fire to England's front line, as if you're representing the Fire Nation. Who watch Avatar, big up yourself. The England team would have been improved because we see that the midfield is getting better and the backline needs some more fixing up. But the younger names that are being mentioned in England's team, maybe in the Euros or not, specifically like a Kobe Mainoo, a Jude Bellingham, a Declan Rice, a Phil Foden as mentioned before, Marcus Rashford. Mason Greenwood as a next youngster could be the generational talented team that could help England to catapult their way in winning something prestige. I won't say the World Cup because Brazil is in the corner listening to what I'm saying. But even the Euros could be something that they could clinch. The negativity about the England portion, though, is that of the press. The press can be very hard to deal with, and what they can be saying about Mason Greenwood can be very hard to, accept. Because, I won't say that the press is racist. I will leave that for other persons to say. But there can be something against some players in the English squad. For example, when the Euros was being played, Sancho, Saka, and Rashford was heavily scrutinized, or let's say they were threatened. You see the murals on the walls when they missed those 3 penalties. It was hard to accept that they did something like that, but the trauma that those 3 guys went through, if they weren't be supported by their clubs, mainly, they would have been elsewhere. Yeah. And there's a lot more to say about the impact of Mason Greenwood playing for Jamaica and for England in a positive or negative way, but I share what I think in terms of my few pointers from the tip of my head are based on experience watching Mason Greenwood and reading the papers about him. Now, of course, I want to speak now about the club. He's now at Getafe. And if you did not see the previous video I showed about Mason Greenwood's goal for Getafe, then you know I can always play back the tape for you to see.
Now to Greenwood. Up against Akiemi. The shot comes in from Greenwood. What a goal that is! Mason Greenwood scores.
But remember, the Red Devils could be opened to accept him again. And I know Getafe, if not any other team, they would want to have Greenwood's signature. But then again, do you think that Mason Greenwood wants to stay at Getafe? Or do you think he wants to play for Manchester United? Let's talk about the positive again for Getafe. If he plays for Getafe, then again, he's already one of the biggest names at that club. And his impact at that club is bringing the club at a higher level. The fans love him. They accepted him when he was down. And even though he was loaned out, his impact at the club has won over a lot of hearts. His name in La Liga alone too bring about more of an upliftment for the league, because that league is dying out. And even though I have on the Real Madrid jersey, no disrespect, it is absolutely not what it is before. And Greenwood is having that impact in La Liga to at least elevate the league or put back the league at the top of the things as it was before. Getafe has been receiving a lot of benefits because of Mason Greenwood. The positive atmosphere, the belief that they can win games, and also the conviction that the club can at least bring across some big names. That is good for the name of the club. But how about Manchester United bringing back a Mason Greenwood in the club? The fans would love that. But I don't think it would be 50-50. Well, let's not use that. Let's not use any figure to differentiate who would want him to be there or who would not want him to be there. But let me even drop a comment. Do you think... Hold on. I'm going to send this out for you to answer. Let's become engaged in the conversation. So I was saying then that, do you think Greenwood should return to Manchester United? Because remember, what happened last year, if my memory serves me right, but I'm sure it is not this year, the acquisition was there and he had some issues with his partner. And he was loaned out. Many persons want for him to be sold. Mason Greenwood coming in Manchester United back positively could help the club to save some funds, better off the right wing, the left wing, or the striker's position, because Manchester United isn't good where that is concerned, even though they had a one-off victory against Liverpool in the FA Cup quarterfinals. Mason Greenwood already understand how it means to represent Manchester and the pressure that it brings. He would be scoring goals. He will be making assists if he's in the best of forms. And I think Eric Ten Hag would love to have him back. But then again, he will basically bring about the belief again. Just like how it bring about that belief at Getafe that the club is going somewhere, he will basically bring back something big to Manchester, that I can come back and make a difference. I can come back and help the club win a big trophy like the Premier League, but of course with other players in the squad, because the back line needs to be boosted and the midfield and even the front line. But Greenwood, as I mentioned before, will help the club to save some money, right? Save a lot of money. And also, he would be scoring goals, as I've said before. I max it, my brother. I really appreciate you being here with this amazing comment. The big up. I really appreciate it. And guys, I max it is one of my favorite YouTubers. I have to speak about him. He's that type of person who basically do contents similar to me, but is on a level that I would say is a world class. But he's very technical, right? He's very technical. You can check out his page as well, because there's a lot to learn from him. He's that person who comes like a teacher that I learned from. And you can subscribe to his page as well and follow, because then again, we're here to present the news where sports is concerned, but we have to at least be kind-hearted to support each other. So big up again, Mr. iMaxit. So where was I? I was speaking about, I think, Mason Greenwood impact at Manchester United. The negative side, let's speak about that. Let's speak about that to follow up on what I was saying. The negative side is that of remember the females, I think they would be uncomfortable still. It's a sensitive topic, and they may be feeling somewhat uncomfortable at first. But guess what? Remember, he's at a different club and he has grown. He has grown. So even though it will have some form of thoughts in the minds of the females, remember now, he's at Getafe and he is trying to make things better. He's trying to make twins meet. So maybe it would not be that much of a negativity. But the negativity where it is concerned now will be a case of when he goes to other clubs, field to play football. He will be playing against Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham, every club big up on themselves in the Premier League and in other competitions like Champions League and so forth. But the atmosphere in the Premier League would be harder for him because they know what happened. And know yourself. Premier 7, big up and chat. Brother, know yourself. You are absolutely a top fan on the channel. I really appreciate you being here, as always. Now, I am Maxid Football. Ask this. Well, he said, respect. I don't think I would work in the long run. Well, it would work in the long run, but maybe in the shorter term. England is different for reasons I don't know. That's a very good point. And if you're speaking about it from a international perspective, it is really a hard pill to swallow. And for me personally, I think that Mason Greenwood would be better in Jamaica team. Reason being is because Jamaica is more open to accept him. England, I tell you, I don't know if they even want for him to play for them again. Because I spoke about the press and the England environment, it is very hard for a player to survive. I don't want to choose color, but remember Raheem Sterling as well when he was mocked and jeered by the press or the English newspaper outlets. The fans even from Manchester City criticized him about maybe his playing style and all of those negative things, but Sterling mentality is different from others. Thank you for the comment, Mr. Imaxit. If I answer your question properly or in the best way and you want to ask another question, then of course I will answer, because I love to answer questions whenever they're issued, right? So I spoke about Sterling and the negativity. The mentality is strong for Raheem Sterling, but is it strong for Mason Greenwood? And I was speaking about the English environment. You know, fans love to chant and they love to, you know, hurt players with their mouths. I can remember the one about Suarez with his teeth and Ozil with his eyes being offside. Look at it. The thing is, if you're not mentally strong to play in the Premier League, do not go there or do not return. Mason Greenwood coming back to Manchester United, I spoke about the fact that he would have added that boost to the front line. But can he manage the mental strain that the fans of different clubs will put on him? If he's mentally prepared for it, then happy days. So, IMAX mentioned that they're not happy to have him in Manchester, much less. Only Sterling they hate more. I tell you, the honest truth is that Greenwood would have it very hard if he comes back in the Premier League to play for Manchester United. The fans would test him again. They will test him very much because they know what happened. And the thing is, you see, when persons want to hold you down or to get at you, they go back to the past, your past traumas or your past negativity that you were a part of, and throw you under the bus. And do you remember when Mason Greenwood went out, like himself and Phil Foden, go on little outings with females, and they were punished? Who had the worst punishment? Was it Mason Greenwood or Phil Foden? I leave you to think about that. But then again, it boils down to the mentality of the players. And I think Phil Foden is a cop or a soldier whenever it is concerned with football. He knows how to keep himself in the right shape with the right mentality. But then again, the team that he's a part of, there's no slackness that is accepted, right? But for Manchester United, which is a nothing club, many persons would say that they're a nothing club right now. Manchester United needs players in that squad who can groom a Mason Greenwood if he should return, because then again, the source that I read before mentioned that they are somewhat open to accept him back. Remember, I said earlier on, not all things should be forgiven, but some things deserve, or some persons as well, deserve a second chance. All right, so Know Yourself mentioned that if Greenwood can score 20 goals in his season return, he would be okay. But I think he should move from Manchester. It is for him, but mainly the persons in charge of the football operation of Manchester United to decide. Because personally, I think it is best for him to go. I would love for him to go back, but because I'm looking from the psychological side or the mental side, he's in a better environment because Getafe fans are not from England really, and Spain is different from England. Manchester United again is a club that even when you're not doing things of such, you will be under pressure to deliver in every game. And Hala Madrid is one of those clubs that brings a lot of pressure. But back to Mr. Know Yourself point, a Mason Greenwood leaving Manchester United, to me, is something that he should consider, because, and then again, 20 goals is really not something that I think he can score that easily, because every team in the Premier League does improve, always trying to boost their squad. And I think no, I maxed it when he was mentioning his point that short term, maybe that is for Mason Greenwood coming back to Manchester United on a short term, but from a long term, maybe he has to move on. If I'm reading the points right there. But Mason Greenwood to Manchester United coming back, man, it is not an easy thing to just say yes, because it was a sensible situation, right? It was very sensible. It's not like when you send a player on loan to get some experience, to get more game time. It is a different thing. And for example, let's look on Amad Diallo. He scored that winning goal against Liverpool in the FA Cup, but he was sent on loan and he came back to Manchester United, and the fans are demanding for him to get play. Even if they weren't demanding for him to get play, he wasn't. It would be easier for him to come back to play because he wasn't in that side of the world or in that type of category in terms of being on the negative side of things. He was just not getting enough game. He was purchased by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he wasn't given that opportunity, so he was loaned out. Similar to even Pelistri. So the return of those players would be easier. So if his output is not good on his return, they would kill him. Brother, you watch Manchester United, it seems, and I watch a lot of their games. And I am telling you that Manchester United, in regards to making crosses, is abysmal. It is absolutely garbage. The crossing or the service of the front line and even the midfield is utter. I don't want to use the word shit, so I will spell it out. It is nowhere good. It is nowhere close to perfection. And if Mason Greenwood output is not good, of course, I don't disregard your comment, Mr. Know Yourself. He would be absolutely scapegoated, as what Sancho mentioned, that he was scapegoated. And Sancho is better off at Dortmund. They want to pay for him back to come back and play for the club because he has been suffering at Manchester as well. Manchester United is like a furnace. Or I mentioned the Fire Nation before. If you're not strong enough, if you don't have if you cannot go into avatar state, I don't think you can basically survive at Manchester United, because it's a slip you slide there now. As a slip you slide there. And from morning me I look for IMAX it go live, and over here so me come find him. Detaway Ripple EFFX. Thank you very much for the comment. And you know, I was giving some credit to IMAX it because he's that type of person who's like a teacher and a leader. And he bring about some good topics that, you know, will play around with the mind of persons as well. Not in a negative way, but for persons to think about it and to analyze and to bring about good pointers. Is that channel for which I really admire. So I think it is just a blessing that he has, that he shared with me, so that you can find yourself over here. And I have to big up Ryan as well, Elite Sports TV. I always see myself watching his channel as well, and I engage in topics that he shared. Whether I'm showing my face, but not on Ryan's channel. I will normally be like calling to the program and share my point on Jamaica, Reggae Boys, and so forth. But for IMAX it, I was there before in like a StreamYard setup last year when we were talking about, I think it was the Reggae Boys, right? I was there. So I am a Jamaican. IMAX is a Jamaican. Ryan is a Jamaican. Even Guna, who is a Arsenal fan. MG Sports, I mean, he's a Arsenal fan, and Eddie Guna, he is. Both of them are Arsenal fans. So the Jamaicans are doing well here in on the YouTube platform. So Mr. Yes, now, Detaway Ripple EFFX, big yourself, Meji. Basically big up yourself and big up yourself as well. Then again, I cannot do the videos without you guys. And may I tell you, you see the setup and everything, it took me a while. And I was supposed to start at 9:30, you know. I pushed it back to 10:30 and I had to delay again because I had to make sure that everything was on point and I had to make sure that I am delivering for the fans based on the topic of Mason Greenwood. So the algorithm is dangerous, man, but big up IMAX 10 Premier 7 and chat. Yeah, man, it is absolutely a dangerous thing because, you know, being here on YouTube, it is somewhat difficult to be even recognized because, you know, football is a thing that everybody speaks about, not even these days, but a lot of times. And the news are like this. The news are fast like Usain Bolt. And it depends on the topics that you present. That could be a factor that could hinder your video to be seen, but it could be something else. And sometimes I am wondering if it is luck that are on the side of other persons, but it is all about hard work and just trying to show your face more and try your best to deliver topics that are trending. And Mason Greenwood is trending. So my brother say walla sub. And he say again, walla sub. Thank you very much because I really appreciate everybody who is here in supporting Premier 7. I love football. I love speaking about the Premier League, the Reggae Girls, of course, Reggae Boys. And Reggae Boys is going to play on the 21st. Today is the 19th. Backside Thursday, no? Thursday. Thursday or Thursday. They're going to play against the United States. But I don't think it will be easy. I spoke about the Reggae Boys a lot of times. And I think the Reggae Boys is what makes my channel even more recognized these days. But, excuse me, I was speaking about Mason Greenwood, though, the breaking news on his prospective return, not saying that he will return. I'm not going to share any false news. I am not going to say, breaking news, Mason Greenwood is back at Manchester United or England. That is a lie. And to get the credit from a line utter, it will basically defeat my purpose here on YouTube. It would defeat my purpose on YouTube because why sharing fake news when I'm showing even my face and being a fan of football? So, what do you think, though, Jamaicans, or even others overseas? This is for everybody to be a part of and engage, you know. Yeah, and be engaged in. This is the topic about Mason Greenwood. It is a very sensitive and controversial topic because before, Jamaica was all but chasing Mason Greenwood. I know Gareth Southgate, one of the not so prestigious coaches, would say that it is possible for him to come back. And he's at Getafe, not Real Madrid. The Vinicius, right? The Rodrigo, the Bellingham, right? The Bellingham. Manchester United is looking forward to get back at Mason Greenwood, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So I spoke about those topics, but let me see what the comment is saying here. So Gary Jeffrey, Greenwood, may hear about. Yes, man. I'm basically speaking about Mason Greenwood in regards to the topic itself. Mason Greenwood prospective return to England's national team and Manchester United. I shared the negative and the positives from an international and club's perspective because, you know, it would be good and bad in some regards if he should stay or go. That is to play for Jamaica or stay at England or to come back to Manchester United or to stay in La Liga. But the thing is, I really embrace the turnout today as well in watching this video. One for which I really planned for. From last night, I was thinking about it to say that I want to speak about Mason Greenwood because Jamaicans love Greenwood. And he's an English-based player that we are trying to get in. And it is not going to be an easy task because if we cannot get in an Omar Hutchinson, I think we can go for Gibbs White, you know. But there's a lot of persons that Jamaica are looking forward to getting them, man. And I just hate the fact that we cannot get in anybody as yet. But, you know, those things are out of my control. I'm just a presenter. And I will not be presenting on any topic that is not true. So, then again, what do you think about the topic, people? What do you think about the topic on Mason Greenwood? Do you think that he will even get that chance to play for England and even return to Manchester United? I will leave it for you to think about. And remember, before I go, the lyrics now, people, pick sense out of it. Yo, we move on from the sadness. Past life full of scar, accused slackness. What a madness. Newspaper would have lose prestige if me name escape from it. Alright, so it is time for me to go. I will be back again with more news on other topics of concern. I don't think I'll be here to speak about Reggae Boys because I have other things to do, right? But, you know, the others will be there. The others will be there, right? So I am just showing you that we need the green to say go and get Mason Greenwood in Jamaica. We don't want for him to play for England. I'm telling you. We want for him to play for, yeah, man, JA, and to build his own signature move and his celebration. Don't thief the Bellingham. But anyway, the lights are getting darker. So share your points on the topic, my people. And goodbye until we meet again. Reggae Boys, we need a victory now against USA. I don't want to come on here and start to cuss and to... Enough of that. Enough of that. All right, so bye-bye until we meet again.